Hello, welcome
Hello.
to Teletour. My name is Igor. I'm a tour guide for a Normandy tour, and we will present you today the Louvre Museum in Paris, France. The Louvre Museum we now know has not always been the museum it is. It was the house of the kings of France for centuries until Louis XIV, the king's son, moved his house to Versailles to get away from the crowd and various dangers of Paris. The statue you see here, the warrior Borghese or the gladiator Borghese, was in the villa of the terrible Emperor Nero, the emperor who burnt Rome to the ashes to create his great palace. There are many of these sculptures from Rome, ancient Greece, even Egypt, very precious things from Egypt in the Louvre. The collection of the Louvre Museum in Paris is so big that it doesn't fit in the museum. The Louvre Museum needs branches and operate branches. One is in Abu Dhabi, another one in Lens. So it can take many months if you come every day to the Louvre to see everything in the Louvre. There is something for every taste here. I'm standing right now where was standing actually the horses of Napoleon, and even before for sure, these were the stables of the castle. And just by the window here, that was the ménage, or the place where Napoleon and other kings of France would train or check the horses they would ride for parade, for shows, and even on battles. Voilà. Now, walking up the steps, one of the 5 most important piece of art of the Louvre Museum stands the Victory at Samothrace, or also called the Winged Victory. It stands on these stairs as it should be, because this sculpture was found in the island of Samos, south of Greece, standing facing the sea, representing the victory at the Battle of Salamine. It's 306 before Jesus. They're a Greek warrior called Antigone Gonatas defeated Ptolemy, and that opened the way for the Greek to control the access to the Middle East, to now Turkey. This statue was found without the arms, without the head, in 1863 by Victor Champoiseau, a French anthropologist, who brought it piece by piece to the Louvre, and then, like a giant puzzle, it had to be put together, and recently it was completely cleaned. It's half a woman, half an angel, landing on a boat, and what's really amazing with the Winged Victory is the fine drapery. It seems as if the wind is really pushing her to land on this boat. Voilà. Originally it was made out of marble. It was restored many times, so the marble is hard to find under the different layers. There is like a twisting movement on the Winged Victory at Samothrace, a little bit like the Venus of Milo. The coat seems like falling, as if the wind is blowing behind her. Voilà.
Hello, welcome to see here the Venus of Milo. This Venus could be called the goddess of the ocean, Amphitrite, but she could also be the goddess of hunting and navigation, Diana. We don't know exactly. She was so called Venus because she's so beautiful and she's a symbol of beauty in this museum. Discovered in 1826 by a Greek farmer who called for help and received the help of a French officer, Olivier Voutier, who was representing France close to this island in 1826. This farmer found different pieces of marble that were digged in the ground. They were very quickly identified and belonging to a statue, one of these goddesses. We alive according to the technique of praxitele, pitos, which consists in giving some realism and some life and representing a female body. That was a new technique appearing from the 4th century before Christ, so abandoning only the representation of gods and fighters to represent women. But she has half of her, which is still belonging to a male tradition. So when we look at her in front, we really see a woman, but when we turn around, we can see what a beautiful drapery covering her legs and giving this wonderful movement, this twisting movement called contrapposto. But just look at the bottom and you can see her foot, a very large foot, which is this of a man and not of a girl. When we turn around and just cancel breast, we can rather see a young boy. Look at the profile. It's a very straight nose and a kind of harshness appearing in this face. So rather the face of a boy than of a woman. So this is the proof that this artist, we don't know the name of the artist of the Venus. It belonged to this school and continuing the tradition of Praxitele. And when we turn around here, we see the backside with a very flat back and, well, the strength of the shoulders, which show, well, more the appearance, the muscle of a boy than of a girl. So this is half of the statue, which change when we move around and see the other side, where very clearly the feminine aspect of the Venus appear. Look here at the very soft and delicate chin and the beautiful hair, so well combed and giving the sense of elegance, of femininity and sensuality as well. So this Venus was found without arms as a winged Victory close to her on the first floor, and she was made with this famous marble of Paros, an island in the Cycladic island, giving up to today this beautiful ivory color, a very pure marble. So this Venus has been a subject of inspiration for many artists. Just remind that in the 16th century, a lot of Italian artists at the revelation of this Greek art arriving after the fall of Istanbul, and so the Greek art invaded Italy and inspired many artists as well as Leonardo da Vinci.
Here is the Luncheon at Cana, the painting by Paolo Veronese. It's a really huge painting, 9 meters large and 6 meters high. And you can see in the center of the painting Jesus Christ and his mother, the Virgin Mary. It's really surprising because the bride and the groom of this wedding are actually just there on the corner, whereas they should be in the center, but it's really Jesus and his mother which are much more important. This painting was made for a refectory for the convent of Venice. The abbot of the convent rejected the painting, and then it was paid by the city of Venice. It was robbed by France in 1797, after the French Revolution, by the armies of the great Napoleon, and it arrived then in France. It's really surprising because you see here that Jesus could not really attend a wedding with such wealthy people. It's a vision of Jesus Christ by Veronese, so Jesus with the colors of the Renaissance. And you can even see the painter in front, just the one playing the violin, just here. Next to him is also Caravaggio, which is in rose, just there. And next to Caravaggio is another important painter of the Renaissance, Tintoretto. Voilà. So it is really surprising to see that this painting, very important, stands really in front, just in front of the Mona Lisa. There it is, the Mona Lisa. Just here, you can see here, the Mona Lisa, the real Mona Lisa. So the Mona Lisa is the portrait of Lisa Gagliardi del Giocondo, the wife of Signor del Giocondo, a wealthy merchant from Venice, and it was supposed to be the portrait of this lady made because Leonardo da Vinci's father was in business with the husband of Lisa. The father of Leonardo da Vinci was not very happy of the way of life of his son, Leonardo da Vinci, who would never finish anything, who didn't have a real job, did not marry anyone. So he asked him to paint the portrait of Lisa. So he made it, but the strange thing is that he never gave it to Signor del Giocondo. He kept it with him and modified it many, many times. So the Mona Lisa represents also maybe a man and probably also the boyfriend of Leonardo da Vinci, Salai.
Welcome to the Mona Lisa, welcoming you as she's welcoming visitors all year long. Painted by Leonardo in 1506, as said Vasari, the historian writer, that she was the wife of Francesco della Gioconda, but maybe she was another person. We don't know up to now. We find in Mona Lisa's its enigmatic appearance, half woman, half man. The left side is more male, while the right side is more female. Was it the favorite model of Leonardo? Up to now, this is a mystery. She might have been a lover of the Medici family, so requested to be painted by Leonardo to give a portrait of a mother of an abandoned child of this girl. What is sure is that this portrait is a miracle considering the 16th century, since Leonardo in this portrait reached what we can do today with computers, a 3-dimension appearing here. She seems to be very close to you with her hand, very quietly staying on her knees, while we see far away the landscape so far. A sensation of eternity appears in this painting with a deepness given by Leonardo. We see a small road, we see a river, and we see the 4 elements of life containing this portrait. The wind in the sky, the river for the water, the earth, and the beautiful skin of Mona Lisa corresponding to flesh and earth. And the 4th element, fire, is contained in her smile, in her eyes, gazing at you. As she was gazing at the King Francis I, that was granted this portrait by Leonardo before his death in 1519 in France, in the Louvre. So this painting remained a possession of our kings since Francis I, and they could never get rid of it. She arrived in the Louvre after the French Revolution and never left the Louvre Museum since then. Painted according to the technique of Leonardo, the famous unfinished technique, as he called it himself, maniera inculta, because he thought he would never finish the painting. A painting can never be finished, it has always to be improved. Mona Lisa can be seen as a Virgin Mary, but she can also be seen as a very sensual woman with this wonderful energy she exerts now for 500 years and still continue to exert. A kind of mesmerizing link that is created by her eyes and by her smile. So, welcome. Here we see the coronation. The coronation of Napoleon I taking place in Paris the 2 of December 1804 through a referendum that had been taking place in France. He was confirmed to be an emperor. So this coronation is done in the Cathedral of Notre Dame in Paris. We see the moment when Napoleon is coronating his wife, Joséphine de Beauharnais, his first wife. We can see 150 persons surrounding Napoleon and Joséphine. And the first action that Napoleon did was crown himself, while the Pope, Pius VII, is seated behind and doing nothing. Napoleon, with this action of doing himself the coronation, wanted to confirm that the church was submitted to its power, to the power of the government. Well, we see behind Josephine the two ladies holding a cape, and behind are the three sisters of Napoleon, Elisa, Caroline, and Paulina, and a blonde young woman holding the hand of a young boy. This is the daughter of Josephine, adopted by Napoleon and married to his brother Louis, with whom she had 3 boys. So the third boy of Hortense and Louis Bonaparte will be Napoleon III, not yet born on the day of the coronation. Well, the 4 brothers of Napoleon appear with their beautiful hat covered with feathers, white feathers. We see Joseph, Lucien, Louis, and the young Jérôme. And just above them, we see the mother, Maria Letizia Ramolino, who in fact was not there because she has refused to come to attend this coronation. And she was very angry with the Pope Pius VII, who had accepted the invitation of Napoleon. Well, she was angry with her son because she obliged the other brothers to marry the woman he had decided, and she wanted to protect her favorite son, Lucien. So they remain both in Italy. But on this painting, David just respects the wish of Napoleon to represent the whole family. The Raft of the Medusa, painted by Theodore Géricault in 1817 to describe the tragedy taking place on the coast of Africa with a French ship. Well, the ship wrecked and 150 passengers died on this wreckage. Only 15% survived, which we see on this raft. Well, it's a kind of pyramid with a sail on the left of the raft. On this raft, we see very strange bodies already dead of hunger, of thirst. To survive, these survivors of the raft made something terrible. They made cannibalism, which Géricault was told about by 2 of the survivors of this raft. So this human pyramid is topped by a black man waving far away because he's seeing a small boat arriving, a British boat, l'Argus, the Argus that saved them, well, the 15 poor survivors. So this painting is a kind of manifest against slavery, to claim for abolition of slavery at a time when slavery had been abolished during the Revolution and once again restored with Napoleon I and with a French Bourbon coming back on the government. So this painting was rejected by the French Academy. They wanted to destroy it. Géricault was able to save this painting and keep it apart. It arrived in the Louvre beginning of the 20th century and remained a symbol of the realism and of the romantic period of the 19th century.
Here is the Great Odalisque by Jean-Dominique Ingres, typical Oriental art from the mid-19th century. What's really amazing with this painting is that this woman, representing women in Oriental harem in the Middle East, in Northern Africa, is looking at the people, and it was not supposed to be this way yet. So it's a little bit shocking, and also the size, the length of her legs and the way she puts her legs, very erotic way. Legs are way too long and it's not possible, and also the curve of the body is exaggerated, really over-exaggerated, just to show the erotic part of this Oriental harem. So that was really the trend in the 19th century during the reign of Napoleon III. We hope you had a good tour with us and teletour at the Louvre Museum in Paris, France, and we wish to see you very soon for another tour with teletour. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Hope to see you soon. Thank you.